Morning, Trainiacs. Today, as I've been trying to do for the last couple of weeks, I am revisiting one of the best things that I used to do for my training plan to help keep me motivated, help keep me regular, help keep me accountable, and right now with what's going on in the world, I think this is something that all of us should be doing. Something that I haven't done for a couple of years, and it's affected me. It has. Something that I like to do before my runs to turn on all those stabilizer muscles here is get this stretchy band and do some monster walks back and forth. And these stabilizer muscles here are really, really important, especially if you work at a desk job, because when we sit, what happens is these shorten up and then the opposing muscles back here go to sleep. And when we land, when we are running, all that vibration and the force of the ground, which is like 7 times our body weight, ends up rattling up through the chain if that muscle isn't turned on and actually stabilizing it. And then what can happen is Aaron Carson.
Hey there, this is Aaron Carson from EC Fit.
And Tim O'Donnell.
Just a damn good Ironman.
Talks about this is you get energy leakage. So we're trying to run straight. Meanwhile, we're planting and energy is going that way and that way. So it's just less efficient. Your heart rate ends up going up, your speed ends up coming down, and injuries can happen. American runner Ben True, who I think still, but at least at one point, he had the 5K American road race record time in like 13 minutes, 13 seconds, something like that. Like crazy, crazy good runner. He does that before every run workout that he's got. Holy jeez, man, look who's on time.
What are you talking about?
Look at this. Celebrity guest runner. Been a while. You also know that you got here after Dave, right?
Oh, yeah. That's kind of scare the shit out of you, eh?
That's low.
Hold on, I just figured out to have a watch on that tells me shit.
Blast from the past. If you've tuned in for a few years, you might remember Trev and Super Dave. We used to train with them a ton, and we did 15.5K at low heart rate. Fitness is coming back. I think I was 5:21 per kilometer at sub 140 HR. That's good. So back in 2017, I got a fair bit overtrained. Wasn't feeling very good at all by the very end of the year. And one thing that I did to end up coming back from that overtraining was I said, you know what? I can't train with the people that I was training with at the time because a lot of the workouts were just really high heart rate, kind of threshold sort of workouts. So I just started focusing on myself, making sure that I was doing a lot of low heart rate training and that I was staying controlled, that I was following a training plan that managed the overall training load really well because I didn't want to dip back into that overtraining. Yeah, I came back from it. 2018 was a really good year. I went 4:41 in my first half Ironman back. Then I did a 4:36. Then another 4:36 last year. Then I did Challenge Roth last year because I really, really focused on that, and I was training solo, making sure that I wanted to do as well as I could. So I made sure that every single workout was optimized as good as possible, working with Dan Plews. And then I wanted to continue that through to the end of the year when I did Half Ironman Atlantic City going for 28. I really want to push the boundaries. But then, starting last year, I really started noticing that I was dragging a little bit towards the end of the year. Doing everything on Zwift by myself, here, on the Zwift running there, in the pool right underneath you right now. It's good, but being the only thing was wearing on me. And now you might be saying that, well, Lionel Sanders trains by himself. Well, yeah, but even him, who has trained historically very, very solo, mostly indoors, he's even started enlisting the help of guys like Corey Belmore and other training partners that you see him training with. His wife is coming out with him more. Sarah True and Ben True, who are in New Hampshire and train by themselves because it's not a triathlon hotbed. But Sarah was telling me that after 4 or 5 years of training on her own and basically a decade of training on his own, Ben and Sarah are finding it, being a little bit hard to continuously push month after month, year after year, when all the training is solo. And that's largely what I'm finding. So you see, today I got pals again, and I'm starting to try to get my training wrapped around the idea of having pals and maybe sacrificing some of that perfect training for good training, maybe great training, that I can do year after year after year. And as I've thought about it, it's taken me, probably a year to really wrap my head around how do I do this. And I think from my standpoint, and maybe this will help you, I have sort of come to the realization that it all comes down to matching the goals and the expectations and priorities with the training. And let me explain. I'll show you what I've kind of got in mind. So you all know how much I like my spreadsheets. I love my spreadsheets. I think in terms of spreadsheets. And the best way that I can explain what I've kind of got in mind for how I, and maybe you, can balance training with friends versus training for your ideal perfect race is with some spreadsheets. So what I've laid out here is actually last season for me in 2019. All right, well, in March, I'm going to race 70.3 Puerto Rico, and I'm going to try to qualify for Worlds. So all of a sudden, that became an A race. That's all of a sudden a race that I am going to really focus on and try to just nail it at. So all of a sudden, now my training for that becomes really, really specific. Challenge Roth, it's my first full distance race again. All right. Okay, that's also going to be an A race. And by A race, I should say, with everything that's going on in the world, I mean like your number one key race event. And then in September, I wanted to try to take another crack at getting to Worlds, or just seeing totally what I was capable of and really focusing on that. So then that became an A, and apparently I can't spell race today. That became an A race. Challenge Daytona, not necessarily an A race, but I'm looking at this and leading into throughout the entire year, here I've got 9 months of key training. And the way that I've kind of realized that I should have approached this, and how I think most people should approach it, is really only having one key race a year, one A race that is the main thing that you focus on. And during that time, that's when you say, all right, I'm not going to train with other athletes. I am going to focus on the perfect training plan. So this is when you go dark. This is when you just start focusing on nailing everything that you want to do. You're making sure that you're doing really key interval sessions, race pace interval sessions. Now, in the other times of the season, say here and here, what I could have done was I could have, instead of gone and doing 8-minute VO2 max interval sessions, or 30-second interval sessions over and over and over by myself, I could have gone and been doing some group rides. So instead of training alone for 9 months, I'm really just training alone for these 3 months, and then these other 3 months are more like, hey, let's train and let's suffer together. But to do that, what's probably going to happen is I've got to change my mentality that this all of a sudden needs to be a B race. That, yeah, the group rides that I go on during the weekday, they're a great workout. Are they the best workout? No, but they're very mentally engaging because we go for coffee after. I chat with my friends. They're really exciting. They are hitting some peak effort levels, but they're not the best thing that I can do. So maybe just by approaching it from a different mindset of saying, you know what, instead of every race trying to be a PB, saying, hey, maybe once a year I go all in. And for that once a year, that's when I train for 3 months by myself and maybe have some friends here or there, but the focus is on that single race. And then the rest of the year, I'm focusing on really good training with other people. So getting your week set up so that you can train effectively but with people is, I think, the balancing act. And this week here is an example of what I was doing leading into Half Ironman Atlantic City. We've got a key strength ride on Monday. We've got a key swim on Tuesday, an easy run on Tuesday with low heart rate, more cycling that was race specific on Wednesday, a low intensity run on Thursday, lap swimming that's easy on Thursday, easy run on Friday, more lap swimming that's easy on Friday, a key long run on Saturday, our long race simulation cycling on Sunday, and then a run off the bike. And when I was looking at this week, I'm like, every single workout has a really serious purpose. And I can't train with other people because I'm not going to be able to do the workout that I want to do. Now, what I could have done, and what I think I'm going to do, is look at the intention of the workout and see what I can change. So let's say, for example, this Wednesday interval session, this really hard interval session, for a race, yeah, by all means, that interval session is the interval session. But for a B race, I can change that interval session to a hard group ride. And you know what? As long as I can get some decent sleep, maybe a nap later, and they're not all crappy sleeps, it's even worth getting up at silly o'clock. Morning. It's chilly.
But you're on camera crew.
Exactly, yeah. The key swims, instead of doing an exact swim that is prescribed to me from, say, Tower 26 or whatever you're using, or even Team Trainiac for that matter, if this is a key swim, well, is it really going to be that much different whether I'm doing my key swim from Tower 26 or Team Trainiac, or doing somebody else's team swim from a local masters group or a bunch of friends that are going and swimming? Probably not. So matching up the key swims to the key swims, the easy swims to the easy swims, and still being able to surround yourself with people for those B races, totally acceptable. The one thing that's probably the hardest is that when you start getting into a group run, like what I did today, the vast majority of the time the tendency is to start talking, and all of a sudden one person starts taking a few steps up and the other people meet. And then one person starts taking a few steps up and the other people meet, and all of a sudden everyone is in zone 3 heart rate. That's probably the biggest thing that is going to be a downside to training in a group. And that's where it's really important to, if you are going to start running with people together, getting a group that has the same mentality that today is going to be an easy run. And really, when you're going on an easy run, there is no too slow. So that's really like the biggest thing that I've been struggling with over the past, I would say, year. And when you start looking at studies, they do confirm that in a lot of cases, when you train with a group, your motivation level is higher, your stress hormones are actually kept better in check. So there is a bit of a balancing act between perfect training and good training that is mentally rewarding and you can do year after year. So this is good. I'm coming back, Trainiacs. I'm coming back. So with that said, if you want to see another video that is trending right now, kind of our most popular one, you can check it out right over there. And if you aren't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button below. Also, if you want to come to Winnipeg and make this a training mecca where there's lots of people to train with, come by. We'll go for a swim and a run. Later, Trainiacs.